Okay, here you can see there are three components connected to the Arduino board. One is the LED, second is the PIR sensor, which is a motion sensor, and third one is this Wi-Fi module. So for this particular experiment, you will not need this Wi-Fi module. This is just I am showing you so that you will get familiar with it. And because when you are doing some IoT related experiments or projects, so you will need this type of Wi-Fi communication. So what we will do, we will provide a circuit to you which already has Arduino board interfaced with the Wi-Fi module. Because if you search on this side, you will not find any component using the Wi-Fi. So that component is not available in the default components in the Tinkercad. So that's why we have connected it with the Arduino board for you. So we will share that circuit with you. Okay. For now, you can delete this circuit. It's not a problem. Wi-Fi is not used for this circuit. So for better clarity, I will delete this. Okay, now you can see there are only two components now. One is the LED and second one is the PIR motion sensor. So this PIR sensor is used for detecting the motions of the living beings only. Okay, so you cannot detect the motion of like objects like your smartphone or table or something. You cannot detect with this sensor. It will detect the motion of only living things. Okay, and it will detect only the motion. It will not detect a person. Means if a person is standing in front of the sensor, it will not detect that. But if person is moving in front of it, then it will only detect. Okay. So in this experiment, what we will be doing, we will be checking if the person is moving in the front of the sensor, and we will make the LED on or off based on that. So LED connections, you already know how to do it. For the PIR sensor, you will be having three connections. Okay. Red one is the positive connection. I will just zoom it. So you can see it is your power. So you have to connect this power to the 5 volts. And the black one is the ground. You have to connect with the ground. And third pin is the signal, which is the output from the PIR sensor, and it will go to input of the Arduino board. So it is a simple digital sensor which will give a 0 or 1 based on the motion. When there is no motion, it will give a 0 output, means the low output, and when there is a motion, it will give a high output. So in the same process, where we are checking that push button, so we have to check this PIR sensor using the digital read function. Okay. So you can see the connections of 5 volt and ground are connected to the below pins, and signal is connected to pin number 5. And now you can see the code here. So you can see there are two variables. One is LED for the pin number 11, and then the sensor for the pin number 5. Okay. So you can see the code is almost same as the push button code. Okay. The LED is made as output and sensor is made as input. Okay. And in the loop we are checking the sensor, digital read sensor equal to 1. That means if some motion is detected, then we are making the LED on. Okay. And if push button, a motion is not detected, then LED will be turned off. Okay. And for the specifically for this PIR motion sensor, it will provide a high output for certain amount of time. Okay, it's not that when a motion is not there, it will just come to low output. It will take some amount of time to come to low. Okay, so at that time you will get a high output for some time. Okay, so we will start the simulation here. So you can see when you have to simulate some sensor in the Tinkercad, what you have to do at the when after starting the simulation, you have to click on the sensor. So it will show you the range of the sensor. So you can see if the object will be too close to the sensor, it will be out of range, and it will, if the object is too far from the sensor, then also it will be out of range. So all the sensors have some range, and that you can check the range from the data sheet of that particular sensor. I will just before starting simulation, drag this sensor so that it will be easy for you to see. So I started the simulation here, and just I clicked on the sensor. You can see this green one circle is the object here. Means this you can assume it as a person or some any living thing. So what is the process? How the motion sensor is detecting the motion? So it is PIR. The full form of the PIR is the passive infrared sensor. Infrared sensor. So what is the meaning of passive? That it is not having any transmitter. It is just having the receiver only. Okay. So there is a IR sensor which is having the transmitter and the receiver also. For example, that you can see the remote controls of the TVs, AC remotes. Okay. So that is having an IR transmitter in the remote, and the receiver is at the side of the appliance, like the TV is having the receiver or the AC is having the receiver. Okay. So in this case, in PIR, it is passive. Passive means it has only receiver. Okay. So which IR radiation it is detecting? It is detecting the IR radiation coming out of from the living things. Okay, so if every when the some object or some body is having some temperature, it will emit some amount of IR radiation. Okay, and this particular sensor is sensitive to the radiation emitted by the living things only. So you can see now. Now I am moving uh, this object in the front of the sensor, in the range of the sensor. You can see sensor is turned on and LED is also turned on. Okay, so it will be turned out for. You can see the simulation time here on the top. This time, so you can see the actual simulation time. The simulation time is different from the actual time. It is increasing slowly. Means the you can see the seconds. Currently it is 15. So now it is 16. So because it is because the simulation on this environment on the browser is taking some time. Okay, so it will not be actually synced with your actions. So what we have to do, you have to move the object and wait whether the simulation time increases, and then it will automatically be turned off the sensor. Okay, so you can see it is only detecting the motion of the object, okay, motion of the person, and it is not detecting the person itself, because now you can see the person is in the range of the PIR sensor, but it is not detecting it. Okay. Now I am moving the person here. Now it is detecting. Okay. And now it is out of range of the PIR sensor. Now I will again move the person outside of the range of PIR sensor. You can see it will not detect any motion. As you can see, I am moving the object, but it is not detecting any motion. And I am just passing the object and very near to the motion sensor. So it is not detecting there. Okay. So in actual sensor, when you are using the real sensor, so you will see if you are moved very close to the actual sensor, so it can give some false readings. Okay. So you have to keep in mind that when you are using in some application, you have to place the sensor accordingly so that it will not give any false reading. So whatever the application that you are using it, like for the detection of the persons or other things, so the distance between the sensor and the person should be appreciable. So it is not a just a long distance, just I think 2 centimeter, after 2 centimeter it should detect in the real sensor. Before moving to the next topic, I will just wait for again for 2 minutes. If you are having any question regarding this, you should not perform this experiment right now because it will be difficult for taking the doubts for individuals. But you can ask the general doubts here.
I hope all of you are clear that using this experiment, we can develop an application also, like intrusion detection system, in which if a person is crossing any area which he's not supposed to cross, we can easily detect. And instead of this LED, we can have a buzzer which can indicate that somebody is crossing this particular area which he's not supposed to cross. So this, like this application, we can make using this sensor.
Okay, I will just explain it once again. Okay. So this PIR motion sensor is used to detect the motions of the living things. So there is a range of the sensor. You can see in the simulator that the range is currently giving the with the green color. Okay. So that conical shape, almost conical, that is the range of the sensor. Okay. Whenever there is a motion in the range of the sensor, it will detect that motion. So it is not detecting any person, it is only detecting the motion of the person.
See, if somebody is standing still in that range, it will not detect. There should be some kind of movement. Then only it will detect, and that too in a particular range which this particular sensor has. And that range can be found through the data sheet of the sensor which we have brought, because there are various sensors available in the market. So it's very important to get the data sheet also of that particular sensor. So we'll get the range of that sensor with from that data sheet. And there is Dr. Mahesh raised his hand. You can unmute your mic and you can ask the question if you want. Dr. Mahesh sir, you can unmute your mic. Otherwise, you can post your question in chat box.
Rachit, I think you can give some small exercise here and give 10-15 minutes, let them do. And if they face any challenge, we can able to address also. So maybe you can give a small variation, maybe one IR sensor, you are using it. So maybe with the IR sensor has detected LEDs blinking, and maybe add with buzzer also, should buzzer, should beep it. So maybe you can add some exercise, so let the people can build, and then.
Yeah, actually, sir, we have kept a separate time period for practicing purpose because there are so many participants and each problem is will be difficult here.
I think somebody is asking Dr. Raju, can we have the log file? Of course, you can create it as you are having the sensor, and whenever you create the sensor data, and you can send it to the database, and you can create the database of all the data the items that you could do. It could be a file you can handle, or you could do a database, or you can send it to the cloud. All that is possible, sir. And it's up to you how you need to use it. Tinkercad is supported limited sensors. I think this is a concept, of course, but when you work on a real environment, then I'm sure that you can use any kind of cloud platforms to send the data, or you can create your own local database and store and processing it. It could be possible.
And there are many more sensors which will be working on with the same code, like the IR sensor. So IR sensor is used for detecting the object. So that will not detect the motion; it will just detect the object is there or not. And so, just like there is another sensor, LDR, which is light dependent resistor, that is also may come in the analog sensor also, can be used as a digital sensor also. For the digital sensor, it will use the same coding, so it will just detect whether some amount of light is there or not. So there are many other sensors like touch sensor and crash sensor. So they all will use the same coding, just if they are digital sensors.
Sir, Dr. Mahesh is asking about, is there any facility to add or import sensors to this environment?
Yeah, actually, for now, there is no facility on this environment, but they are working on that. So maybe after a few days or months, they might be available.
Okay, sir, continue.
Hello.
We can move to the next.
Madam, myself Dakshayani. Madam, actually, I wanted the name of the concept what you have taught today. What can I write?
Pardon me, I'm not understanding.
Okay, empathy examples. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, actually, it's what for outcome I can write that outcome. Okay, fine, thank you. Thank you very much, madam. Madam, we didn't record it today lecture, right? In Zoom meeting. Yes, ma'am. Someone has done something, ma'am. I don't know what happened. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, bye.
Sir, Rajit, you have to unmute yourself and start it again.
Yeah, I have unmuted.
There is a disturbance. Someone is unmuted.
So before moving to the next sensors, which are the temperature sensor and the ultrasonic sensor, we have to see the serial monitor. So serial monitor is used for communicating between the PC and the board. So that will be used for the printing purpose and the debugging purpose. So I'm just opening that.
I request all the participants to don't unmute yourself until and unless there is a question query. Okay.
Okay, for the serial monitor, you just have to use the only one component, which is your board only, and the USB cable, which will be connected to your PC in actual. Okay, so for the serial monitor, there is a, we can see when we program in our laptops or desktops, we can print anything. Like in the C, we use the printf function, and C++ we use cout, and in the Python we use print function like that. So if we are doing something in the Arduino, so where should we print for debugging purpose? Okay, so it does not have any screen like this or any type of display by itself. So uh, one way is to use the serial communication, which is through the USB. We are sending some data to our PC, and there we are printing that. So from the Arduino board, we will be sending some data, and from that will be printed on the serial monitor. Okay, so serial monitor is just like a small application which is receiving the data from the Arduino board. Okay. And we can do the reverse also. We can send the data from serial monitor to Arduino board also. Okay. So you can see the code. So it is very simple code for this. You just have to write a few, only 2-3 statements for this. First, we have to establish a communication between the transmitter and receiver, and that should be because we are sending the data from one device to other. So we have to keep some settings like baud rate. The baud rate is the number of bits per second we are transmitting. So that should be the same for the transmitter and the receiver. Otherwise, there can be data corruption at the receiver side. It will detect something else. So what we have to do for the serial communication baud rate, we have to write serial dot begin. Here we have to specify the bits per second rate. So it is our 9600, which is very common baud rate, but you can change the baud rate also. There are many other baud rates which are supported from different modules. Like Wi-Fi module is supported with the 115200 baud rate, and there are some GSM modules, GPS module, which also supports the 9600 baud rate. So 9600 is a very standard baud rate for many of the devices. Then after this, we have to send some data from our Arduino board to serial monitor. So we have to just write serial dot print. Here we can provide the data in the string format. I will just print it in the setup only. Okay, so whenever the code is done, executed, then it will print the setup on the serial monitor. So how you have to access the serial monitor? On the below side of the code, you can see there is a serial monitor. You can click here. So it is open. So in this area, all the text will be printed. So I'm just starting the simulation. Okay. So you can see setup is printed only one time because it is in the setup function. Okay, now what I am doing, I'm just copying this statement. I'm just printing setup again. Okay. I'm just clearing the serial monitor from here so that the previous data is removed. And again starting the simulation. So you can see it is printed like setup again. So why it is printed like that? It is not coming to the next line for printing the next statement. Okay. So print will only print whatever you have specified here. Okay. So for coming to the next line, either you can use the C syntax like \n. I will just clear and again start the simulation. So now you can see it is in the next line. Okay. So all the C syntax like \n, \t for tab, and like this. All the syntax will be supported in this also, like you use in the printf statement. Okay. And another method is to use the println function. Okay. Println is what it do. It will first print the setup and then print a enter character so that it will come to next line, and then setup again is printed. Just clearing and starting it again. You can see it is doing the same thing as either \n, or you can use the function as println. Okay. Now there are three functions covered for the serial: begin, print, and println. Okay, so this print and println is used for transferring the data from the Arduino board to our PC, which is being printed here in the serial monitor. And there is another function which is serial.read, which is used for reading the data from the Arduino. Means the Arduino will be reading the data and we will be sending the data from our PC. Okay, so it is a reverse process. So just I am reading it from here. Okay. So before checking the data, whether that data is coming from the PC to our Arduino board, first we have to check if data is available or not. Then we have to read the data. So for that purpose, we have to use the serial.available function. You can see if serial.available. So it will give you the number of bytes available to read. Okay. If it is greater than 0, means we have some data to read. Then we have to actually read the data. So that we will use as serial.read. So it will read 1 byte at a time. Okay. So we are reading this data, but we have to either store this data somewhere or we have to print this data. So what we can do here, we can again use serial.print, and we are using serial.print and serial.read. So whatever data we are reading, that will be printed again back to the serial monitor. Okay. Starting the simulation here. So earlier you see the data was printed on the serial monitor. Now we have to send the data to Arduino board. So how we send? We click on the below text box here, and suppose I am sending a character here. So now here you can see I have sent a character A and it is printing 97. So what is the meaning of this? It is actually printing the ASCII code of the character A. Okay. So if we are sending data from the serial monitor to the Arduino board, it is actually sending the ASCII code, so that it will read and then print. So if you want to print A as it is, what you have to do, instead of using print, there is the other function, right? So it will print in the string format only. Entering A, so now A is printed. Okay. I think these functions more or less will be clear to you. One is a begin, then write, then print, println, and then similar is the write ln also, and then read. Okay, so print and write, there is only one difference, that write will always write the string data, and print will print only the data which is coming from it. If we are providing a string data to that, if you provide string, if you are providing ASCII code, it will print the ASCII code. So this thing is used for the debugging purpose. So for example, sometimes the code is stuck somewhere. So how can we detect what is code is doing inside that Arduino board? So we can write some serial.print statements like this, and it will print whatever we write here. So for example, we are uh, in the previous example, we are doing the PIR motion sensor. So we can see if it is not the code, our code is not working properly. So we can see if LED is not turning on. We can print on the serial monitor also. If motion is detected, we can print motion detected. So that thereby we open the serial monitor and check our code is how our code is working, where it is currently executing. There is a one question here. If we do it with real Arduino, then what will be the serial monitor in that case? Yeah, real Arduino is also having a serial monitor. I will just show you here. I will just open the serial monitor to show you. I request the participants to post the question not privately, because if sometime I miss the question and someone else can read the question, so I always uh, post the question in to everyone. So here you can see when you open a Arduino IDE, it will open a like this. You can see the same setup and new function are there, and here there is serial monitor icon. If our hardware is connected here, that will open the serial monitor if you click here. So I have just connected a hardware here to showing you serial monitor. You can see there is serial monitor here. So a separate window will open. Here the everything will be printed, and about text box is to send the data from PC to the Arduino board. Okay. So you can see here in the actual Arduino there are many options are also there, like baud rate setting. Okay, so here you can set the baud rate 9600, 19200. I think Tinkercad they have not provided it, these settings. So whatever baud rate you are using, it will be printed in the Tinkercad. But in the actual Arduino, you have to use the same baud rate which you have used in the Arduino program. Okay. So for example, on the right hand side, there is written serial.begin 9600. So it means that Arduino board is using 9600 bits per second. So the serial monitor should also use 9600 bits per second. Okay. I'm just closing it. Okay. If anyone having any other question regarding the serial.
Rachit sir, give 5 minutes time, then they have to try these two experiments. One is that
PIR
motion sensor
sensor.
and this one. Okay,
Serial.
just 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Those who complete, you can post completed in chat box so that we'll get to know that how many of you have completed.
Rachit sir, there is one question. Using sensor, my LED is not on even in area of sensor.
Can you post the screenshot in the WhatsApp group so that we'll see whether you have done right connection or not?
Radhika madam, you have to put your screenshot in your respective group. Okay. Manasi madam, the circuit was placed in group 7. Go to group
Yeah,
7 once. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just check.
If anyone completed these two exercises, please mention in chart completed.
Someone has posted the screenshot in the group. I think their connection is not proper. Uh, they are connected to the ground power pin and ground pin, both to the ground pins. They are not connected to 5 volts.
Radhika ma'am, you have to improve your connection. One should be connected to ground, one should be connected to 5 volt, and the other signal should be connected to any of the pin. The same pin you have to mention in the code which you have written.
Sir, almost all are completing. You have to carry on, continue.
Yeah,
If
okay.
there are any problems, we have to look at it at the end during the hands-on session.
Yeah. Someone is asking question about the again tell the simulation in the serial monitor. Okay, so for serial monitor, what you have to do, there are one function is the serial.begin, which is used to specify the baud rate of the means the bit per second rate of the communication. So this is used for communicating between the Arduino and our PC. Okay. Then there are some functions which we have to use for the actually sending and receiving the data. For sending data, there are 4 functions. One is serial.write. Just a minute. Sorry for the interruption. So I was explaining the serial communication. So whenever we have to transfer data from Arduino board to PC, we have to use the functions like write, write-ln, print, and println. Okay, so these functions are almost similar. They work like serial.write is always printing in that string format, and serial.print is printing to the whatever data we have specified. So for example, if you have specified some ASCII bytes, so it will just print the ASCII value of that character. And write ln and print ln are just the extension of write and print. So they are just used for printing something, and after that it will print the enter character and come to the next line. Okay. So these are the 4 functions for transferring data from Arduino to PC. And if you have to transfer data from PC to Arduino, so in the Arduino we have to use serial.available function to check whether the data is available from the PC or not. And for reading the data, we have to use serial.read. Okay, so we can directly just print whatever we have read from the laptop or our PC, or we can use it for we can store it in the some variable like variable a equal to serial.read. Means we have to use the character type variable for that, because it is giving the character type value from the read function. Okay, so for the simulation part, you can see this program. There is a serial.begin line which is specifying there is a 9600 bits per second speed of communication, and then we are checking if serial.available is greater than 0, means number of available bytes is greater than 0, means we have some data to read. Okay. Then we are reading that data and passing the same data to the serial.write. So whatever we are reading, we are also writing that data. Okay. So for this, we have to just click the start simulation. So I'm just writing a B here and pressing enter. So B is printed. Like we can press, we can write. So what it will do? It will print byte by byte. First it will print W, E, L, C, O, M, E like this. So you can see. So you can put single character, or you can put any string also. So, but it will read one character at a time. Okay, someone has raised hand. Either you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can put it in the chat. is asking what is the difference between print and write function. So you can see it here. If you are using a write function here, so it is printing whatever string we have given it here. Okay. If we are given A, then it is printing A. If we are given B, it is printing B. Okay. But in actual, when we are giving data from the serial monitor, so it is actually providing the ASCII value of that particular character. Okay, so if we write a print instead of write, now if we provide A here, so it will print as the ASCII value of A is 97, when B is 98. Okay, now we are moving to the next session. Means the next topic is of the temperature sensor. Okay, so we are using a temperature sensor TMP36. So that is an analog temperature sensor. So means we have to connect that sensor to the analog pins instead of digital pins, and we have to read analog pins using analog read. So I will just show you the. Okay, I am just deleting the Wi-Fi module again for clarity. So here you can see there are 3 pins in the TMP36 sensor. Okay. So you can see one is the power pin, second one is the Vout, and third one is the ground. Okay. So you have to connect this sensor to the Arduino, like power pin to the either 3.3 volt or 5 volt, and ground to the ground, and you have to connect this Vout pin, which is in yellow, to any of the analog pins here. You can see the analog pins. It is mentioned in the below right side, bottom right side. It is A0, A1 up to A5. Okay, so you have to connect to any of these analog pins. Okay. For example, you can connect to A2 also, A3, or whatever pin you want, you can connect it here. Okay. So this sensor will give an analog reading. Okay, so we have to read this analog reading, and then we have to convert it into the Celsius range. Okay. So before going to the code, I want to just see the datasheet of this sensor. Okay. So this is a sensor TMP36 from the analog devices. You can see some of the things here, like low voltage operation. It can work from 2.7 volt to 5.5 volt. So you can connect the power pin to either 3.3 volt or 5 volt. Both will work. Okay. Then you can see there is a 10 millivolt per degree Celsius scale factor. So this means for every rise in 1 degree Celsius temperature, there is a rise in 10 millivolts in the output. Okay, so we will be reading that value from the analog pin and converting into the Celsius range. Okay. And then there is another thing you should know. Yes. You can see there are three sensors from the same vendor: TMP35, TMP36, and 37. So you can see there is an offset voltage of 0.5 volts in the TMP36. Okay. So what this means, we have to subtract that offset voltage from the voltage whatever we have read from the Arduino board analog pin. Okay, so it will just give a offset of 0.5 volt initially. Okay. Now we can come to the code. Okay. So there is some difference between the here in the when we are simulating this and when we are working on the actual hardware, which we have already shown you in our product section. Okay. In our board, we have used the multiplexer for multiple analog pins. Okay, and in this board there is already a multiplexer. So how can you distinguish between them? You can see here there are 6 analog pins: A0, A1, A2 up to A5. So there is an internal multiplexer. So whenever you read from the A0 pin, it will automatically select that pin. And when you write A2, it will automatically select A2 pin using the multiplexer. Okay. And for that hardware which we are providing, that is have an external multiplexer. So in that we have to specify which pin we have to read, and there is only one A0 pin in that, and we have always have to read it from A0 and change the multiplexer values. Okay. So for now, don't see the commented code. I will show you that later. Okay. First, see these variables. There are 3 variables of float type: temperature raw, temperature millivolt, and temperature Celsius. So temperature raw variable is used to read the temperature from the analog pin, that is the raw value. Then temperature millivolt is used to convert that raw value to a millivolts. And then temperature Celsius is the actual Celsius value, which we will be converting from millivolts to Celsius. Okay. So why we are converting in millivolts? Because in the datasheet we have seen they have given 10 millivolts rise per degree Celsius. Okay. So next is the analog pin. We have declared the temperature sensor pin as A0 because we are connected to the A0. Then in the setup function, we have used serial.begin 9600 because we will be printing the temperature value here. Now come to the loop part. Temperature raw equal to analog read temperature input. So this means we are reading a value from the A0 pin from the temperature sensor and storing it in the temperature raw variable. Okay, so that is using analog read function and it takes a parameter of the pin number. Okay, so we are giving a raw value. What is the raw value here? Because analog values are read through the ADC, so they are converted into digital form. So that means we are using ADC in that board, and that has a resolution of 10 bits. So 10 bits means 2 to the power 10 is 1024. Okay, so that when we are reading from that pin and any analog pin of the Arduino, that will give a value from 0 to 1024 depending on the temperature. Okay. So after getting the raw value, we are converting it to the millivolt. Here you can see we have used temperature raw to 5000 by 1024. So how is that coming from? You can see one that is having a resolution of 10 bits, means 1024 values. So we are dividing a raw value from 1024 and multiplying it from 5000. What is 5000 here? 5000 is the 5-volt supply, because Arduino by default has a 5-volt supply. So the ADC is also using the 5 volts, and we convert that 5 volt into millivolts, that will be 5000 millivolts. So in this way, we are just using the simple unitary method for converting our raw value to the millivolts. Okay. Now after that, we have to convert that millivolts into Celsius. So how should we convert that? You have seen there is a 10 millivolt rise per degree Celsius. That means, see here, if we divide millivolt by the Celsius, so that value should be equal to 10. Okay, and there is an offset of 0.5 volt from the data sheet. So what is the offset value here? Either if we are using volts, then we can subtract the 0.5 here, but we are using millivolts, so we have to convert 0.5 volts into millivolts, so that will be 500. Okay, so what are the millivolts we are getting? Minus 500 offset divided by Celsius equal to 10. So this is the formula. Now we have millivolts here in this variable, 10 millivolts, and we have to calculate the Celsius. So when you rearrange the formula, you will get temperature Celsius equal to temperature millivolt divided by 10 and minus 50. So we have now got the value of temperature in the Celsius, and now we have to print that value. So we have used serial.print temperature. You can see we have printed a string TEMP colon, and then after we have printed serial.print actual value of the temperature. Okay, so what will be printed? What will be printed here? TEMP colon and then the actual value of the temperature. And after that, in the last, degree Celsius. So this star is used for degree here. And you can see last function is the print ln, and these two functions are print. So after printing temperature equal to actual temperature degree Celsius, then it will come to next line, and then it will just wait for 1 second, and then it again read from the analog pin, then again convert into millivolt, then again convert it to temperature Celsius, then again convert, again print the Celsius value in the serial monitor. Okay. So first we will simulate this code, then I will explain this all the commented code why it is required. So you can see currently it is giving a temperature of 24.71 degrees Celsius. Okay. So I am clicking on the sensor. Now there is a slider where we can change the temperature. Yesterday someone was asking if we are reading the temperature, so what temperature it will read, the room temperature or the room temperature or the laptop temperature. It is actually not reading actual temperature because it is a simulation, not emulation. So in the simulation, you are just providing the temperature from the slider. Okay, so you can move the slider from the left to decrease the temperature. You can see 23, 9, minus 7, minus 4. So its maximum value is minus 40 degrees Celsius to 125 degrees Celsius. So there will be some accuracy error also, but approximately you can see it is coming to the minus 40 to 125 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I am just stopping the simulation here, and now I will explain the why the commented code is required in the actual hardware for which we provide the workshops. So you can see here how the analog